Andersen joins us for his weekly hit now as the Beavers get set to take on the Cal Golden Bears. Coach, how's your week?
It's going good. Can't start a conversation on Veterans Day without saying thank you to the veterans and their families, though. So we can go on from there.
Absolutely. You know what I wanted to ask you about is because you're probably getting tired of the same old questions, I'm guessing.
I'm getting tired of a lot of the same old yes.
Yeah.
Good point.
Let's talk. Let's talk recruiting. You know, I mean, as you set out to build this thing up, it starts with recruiting. Can you just kind of talk about what your main goals are as you go out this winter for this next class?
Yeah, we go through as a staff. In fact, we'll walk out of here and get ourselves into a recruiting meeting right now. And first thing I'm going to reiterate to the staff is what we and what I believe now going through this conference most of the way through and seeing these teams compete is you have to be able to, I said this a few weeks ago, you got to have not good, you have to have great quarterback play. You have to be able to rush the passer physically with four people. You have to have great running back or running backs, and you have to have corners that can man cover. And that will be our emphasis as we continue to move forward and have a smattering of JC players in there. I think recruiting is going very well. Recruiting for us, it's a huge opportunity. We're looking for kids that, number one, are tough, number two, love the game of football, and number three, are not afraid to take on a unique situation. And in other words, they want to come in and be the ones that change things and got it where it needs to be in the direction it was going. And that's a vision for kids that they just want to go sustain a place and, hey, we're going to win this many games and we're going to do that and we're going to go to this bowl game and consistently go to this bowl game. That's fun too. I'm not saying that that's a bad thing at all, but what I am saying is we do have a unique challenge set up for us right now. And those kids have to accept that, and we're throwing it out to them out front, letting them understand that they are going to be part of something special as long as we recruit the right kids and get them in here and coach them up the right way. So that's our emphasis. We have huge momentum right now with what this university has given us. You know, Beaver Nation, the administration, Oregon State University has given this football team a lot right now with the new facility. It's allowed us to be able to move in the proper direction here quickly. It's not 3 or 4 years down the road. It's a year from right now we'll be opening up those doors, and that is a tremendous, tremendous opportunity for every football player and every coach to, continue to work to take the next step.
Have kids changed much over the years? I mean, what do you find are the general largest considerations for these young men when deciding where to play college football? And is it the same as it's always been?
Oh, I think it's different. It's kids in general we're not as tough as we used to be. I mean, there's less tough kids. I don't care what anybody says. I'll argue that one forever. But you have to go out and find those tough kids. But as far as what they want and where they're going, our goal is to get the decision makers within whatever that may be, the family structure, a coach, a mentor, whoever it is, help them let the kids make the decision. But facilities are very important now. I think there's two types of facilities. There's bells and whistles on the facilities that are just nice things to have, and one of those would be just a really nice locker room. Does that necessarily make you a much better football player? That's debatable. It does bring in a family concept, and kids like to be there, so that's a positive. But having the best of the best in the training room and the best of the best in the weight room and the best trainers and the best coaches, that stuff definitely makes you a better football player. So down those lines, I don't think they've necessarily changed, but they like the bells and the whistles and the bling, and that sometimes gets you in the door. But that's never going to finish off a recruit. Recruiting is still a relationship business, I believe.
It's funny you mentioned that because we've had this discussion about facilities. I was a fairly big recruit in the mid to late 90s, and everyone had crappy facilities. Like, facilities weren't that big a deal. I remember going to Washington and Washington State. I mean, Oregon had started to build some nice stuff, but, BYU and Utah and Arizona State and UCLA, none of them had nice facilities. It just really wasn't a big deal. And then in the last 15, 20 years, there was just this explosion where it's keep up with the Joneses, and that's become such a huge part of it.
It is. And especially with these Power 5 conferences, if you don't have nice facilities, it's going to be a huge problem. And we're fortunate to be able to have them. But it has flipped. It's changed considerably. And it's even down, when in the Mountain West, when I was there in the WAC. And obviously now the Mountain West teams are in that situation. It's become very competitive. Therefore, facilities also, you have to have them. And I think it's great for the kids to have them. Again, is it essential? Not always, but that's where we are, and people will build it. But I will say this: I think now that we're in the Pac-12, and we're just talking the Pac-12 right now because that's all we care about, is the fact of the matter is these kids deserve to be treated like the best athletes that there is in Division I football, because that's what we're asking them to play. That's how we're asking them to hold themselves as a conference. So they need to have the best of the best, and I think our conference is doing a better job year in and year out of making sure those kids have what they need to be the best of the best.
And I know you guys got some new stuff coming. I asked this of Coach Riley, and I'd like to pose it to you as we're talking about recruiting. When you sit down with a young man and recruiting's going very well, people happy about the some of the early commits and the classes that you have coming in. But when you sit down, what do you sell a kid on to Oregon State? When you're sitting down with mom and dad and him, what is your sales pitch? What advantages does Corvallis have that make a kid want to choose Oregon State?
Well, the first thing, I don't let my coaches use the word sell. I make them use the word show, because that's what we're trying to do. We're not trying to sell them anything. We're giving them an opportunity for a great education. So we hit three areas. We hit the academic part of it first. Not just a degree. It's a degree that's going to allow you to take care of whatever you decide to create in life. Family, whatever that is, children. That's important to us. We want you to have a degree that's going to allow you to take care of what's next. Academically, that's important. We're going to give you the mentors, the tutors, all those things. Socially, we want to help you grow from a young man to a man in here. And in a nutshell, that's easier said than done, but that's part of our job. And then athletically, we want to put you in a spot to be able to play meaningful games in the month of November that allow you to be able to have things that you remember, rings on your fingers, championships, and so on and so forth. And then if you take it on the outside, this is a true college town. It's very unique. Every college is unique. This is what I believe in. This is where I like my kids to go to school, at an environment just like this, where it's community and school combined as one. It's different, and there's a lot of schools in this conference that are way different than that. Some of them are commuter schools. That is not, in my opinion, the same as Oregon State University. There's big cities. That's not the same as Oregon State University. So we show them exactly what we have. We believe in it as coaches. We want our kids here to make sure that they believe in it and they're excited about the opportunity.
Gary Andersen, Oregon State coach, the wide receiver, Guyton dismissed. Have you found more disciplinary and maybe individual issues than you expected taking over this program?
Yeah, I would say so, and I think that's, it's a culture of kids have got to understand that, we're always going to have our core values. We're going to hold them to the highest level, and if you'll just stay on the right side of those core values, you'll be fine. If you'll venture off to the other side, you're going to have an issue, and you have to stick to your guns if we are who we say are as coaches. And I don't like it. It's the worst days of my life when I lose a young man in the program, and I always feel responsible for it for whatever reason. I just do. And some people think, why do you feel responsible for that? I just do. I'm in this thing for these kids, and I want them to toe the line. But I know I can't save them all. I know they're not always going to survive it. Like I told them the first day here, I want you all here. You're not all going to make it, and that's exactly what's basically happened. But with Datron, we'll help him get to the next spot in his life, and talk to him again today. I don't have ill feelings, nor does he. It's just a situation that we went through, and I want the kids to be successful. I want them to be here, but if it's not, I want them to be successful somewhere else. But we've had some scenarios that we've gone through, and if you want to play football here, then you got to make sure you want to succeed academically, socially, and athletically, and you've got to make sure that you have a responsibility and accept that responsibility to be a student athlete here, not just an athlete or not just a student.
Is when you come in and take over a program, is it? I'm not saying that you're harder now than you will be 3 years from now, but when you come in, these aren't the kids you recruited. They didn't sign up to play for you. It's a whole new, kind of regime, new set of rules. Do you almost have to, I don't know, to toe a more straight line early on to set what you want out of your program when you first take a place over?
I don't think you have to any tighter line. You set the rules out there, but there is a learning curve. Kids, excuse me, guys, understanding who you are, what you're about, what is real and what is not real. Are you really a disciplinarian, or are you just talking about it? When things don't go well, are you willing to make the hard decisions? Are you going to applaud the good? Are you going to pat them on the back when it's good? Or are you just going to move around and, just kind of go through the day? So I think our kids know that now, what we're going to be. We're going to be hug them hard, and we're going to get it right when it's wrong. And I don't think we'll be any different now than we are in year 3 or 4. But there is a learning curve that goes into that, and that is an adjustment for kids. That's why I always say you have to make sure you can survive in the program that you're at, and you believe in the way that the program's going. and that the discipline structure that's set within the program. And I think our kids are starting to get that, understand it, that, football is important, but football does not come first. Kids come first, and your responsibility to your university comes first. And I'll never waver in that. I'm not in a position to ramble on that forever, but I think it's the core of any athletic team that they have to uphold their responsibilities, and I hold that to a very high level for myself, my coaches, and the kids.
So you look at this coming up here, and it's been a while since we've had a W. Cal, I think, has lost 4 in a row, a bit of a slide. What do you see from Cal, and what can the Beavers do here to get off the schneid and put a W up?
Cal is obviously a great quarterback. He's a special player. Sorry, guys. A little cold. Been yelling a little bit too much, maybe. He's a special quarterback. They have some tremendous wide receivers and a very potent offense. So we have to be able to score points to be able to win the game. You're not going to say it's going to be a 3-0 game, and it's not going to happen. In this league, it basically never happens. So we've got to work ourselves to get some turnovers on defense. We've gone through a long streak here now, 3 games that we haven't had a turnover, and that's almost impossible to do, but we've done it. So we've got to fix that. And then take care of ourselves. Don't really worry about Cal. Take care of our zone drops. Take care of our pressures. Run the ball effectively when we're given the opportunity. Catch the ball. Take care of our business. If we do that, we're going to have an opportunity. But the Beavers got to be the Beavers, and if we can do that, we can play some pretty good football at times. When we get distracted or whatever comes our way that we don't handle that adversity well, it's a bad position to be in for us. And you have to make plays in this league to win.
Beavers at Cal on Saturday. Coach Gary Andersen every Wednesday with us here on The Fan. Thank you, Coach. Feel better.
No, I'm good. I'm not sick. Just
okay.
A little scratch in my throat. I'm good, man. Go Beavs. Appreciate you guys.
All right. See you later.
Apparently have a very good recruiting class lined up.
Oh, yeah. He can recruit.
Yeah, the people are quite high, and that's saying something considering the fact that there's always been challenges to Oregon State when it comes to recruiting, and you're in the midst of a horrific season where you're the worst team in the conference, and you've got a recruiting class that's ranking, depending on where you look, somewhere in the high 20s, low 30s. I think that's a very positive sign for Oregon State fan that help may be on the way.
Well, Oregon State's committed more now.
Yes.
But Kalani Sitake has always been known as a great recruiter. And so is Gary Andersen. Dave Bartu actually told us that Gary Andersen's one class, his full class that he had at Wisconsin, was the best recruiting class in Wisconsin football history.
Yeah.
Think about that. Wisconsin's been damn good.
Yeah.
Barry Alvarez. So there is no question he can recruit. And I think with Oregon State committing more and helping him, and they'll finish off the Valley Football Center and get that done.
And that's going to be good because he talked about it. He wasn't trying to throw anyone under the bus, obviously, but he did talk about that. They got facilities coming and how important they are.
Well, and the kids love the bells and whistles.
There used to be they wouldn't show recruits the locker room at Oregon State. We've heard that the locker room was so unimpressive compared to what else you had around the conference that Oregon State would skip it. And that's hard to do. That's recruiting with one hand tied behind your back, and Oregon State is fixing that.
Okay,